Introducing Zach Davis and Josh Anderson with the SoundMoney Podcast.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the SoundMoney Sound Principles Podcast. I'm Josh Anderson, excited to be here along with Zach Davis. How are you, Zach?
I'm good. Hey, everybody.
Man, it is awesome to be back together. We've been away for a little bit while we've been putting together a new format for the SoundMoney Podcast. We've just had so many listeners reach out to us about things that they would like to see that we've decided to kind of change the format. And so it's good to be back with them, right, Zach?
Yes, it has been a long time, so it's good to be back.
It's great to be back, and we're super excited as we record this today on April Fool's Day. And I promise we're going to make no April Fool's jokes. We're not going to come out and lie about anything or tell any untruths out there, because we have a lot of fun things to talk about when it comes to the gold and silver space right now, what's going on in it, and trying to help you understand it, and what's going on in the world of business. There's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur than right now in the new AI agent revolution. Would you agree, Zach?
It's insane. The speed at which everything is changing right now is incredible. I mean, it's like every day there's some new thing that's coming out. It's hard to keep up with.
It's crazy. It's crazy the amount and how fast business is getting done in this new world. And so we're going to talk about that today. So for the listeners, this is how things are going to be done. We're going to now break up the show into a couple little segments for you. The first segment that we're going to cover each week is for all of our gold and silver bugs out there, people that are involved with us at Sound.Money, and those that want to understand gold and silvers. And so luckily, we've been somewhat of experts in the last decade in that space, as we've been blessed enough to grow an amazing community of sound money people out there that are part of that sound money movement and want to understand it and break it down. And so, Zach, I'm going to share a screen for a minute. This is for those listeners out there that are familiar with the Sound.Money website. When you go there, we actually added a new section to that website where we actually are now publishing an in-depth brief every single week that is truly remarkable what we're trying to do here. Every single week, we're trying to go out in the space and curate for you the most important information to understand gold and silver. So this week, gold's worst week since 1983, a stress test for the bull market. You can now go there and you can get a full in-depth review of what's happened in the gold and silver space. We put this one out on March 25th. They come out each week, walking you through what's gone on and what's caused this great dip. Now we've seen a major correction in the last few days. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but it just walks you through it. And whether you're a technical person or not, it's really awesome, Zach. You have some sections about what's happened in the gold and silver space over the last week, what's caused it. We're going to talk about these in a minute, oil, inflation, and those channels. It also, for our really technical people who really want to understand the technical parts of it, we have a section each week that's highly technical. For those that maybe don't like technical things, just skip over it. Those that want to understand it, you can. It just breaks down the market for you. And we've done it in a really fun way, Zach, where we have the articles each week where we put it out. But we also, if you want to get it in the audio form, in a weekly brief audio form that's very, very customer centric, very easy to understand, you can join us over at Substack, or put in your email, and guess what? We'll send it to you every week and share it with you. Or if you want to digest it in a way that is really pretty simple, we have a one-page PDF each week that we put out to break down the industry and to kind of understand it. And so, Zach, let's jump right in for a minute. I'm going to leave the graphic up here for a minute for those that are watching with us. And just kind of let's take a minute and ask a few questions about, this great stress test that happened in the last week, and kind of break down for a second what's gone on in the gold market with this whole Iran war and things, with oil and inflation right here in the middle, oil and inflation and interest rates. Like what does that do? Like, for the listener that doesn't understand, what does that do in the gold and silver space when oil and inflation and interest rates all collide? What does that kind of look like for people?
Yeah, what it looks like is what you're seeing on the chart, right? 11% weekly drop in gold, 16% plunge in silver. I mean, $6 billion just gone. And the reason why, like, this is what's interesting is most people are like, gosh, the economy's not getting any better. Fuel prices are going up. Shouldn't be gold and silver be going up because typically when the economy is not doing well, then gold and silver, right, is the one that is actually doing better and it's going up. But what you have to remember is the monetary system used to be pegged to the gold standard, right? And after that was cut off, everybody's like, well, now it's not tied to anything. Well, it actually is tied to something. It's tied to the petrodollar. And so most all countries across the world, they do business in the petrodollar, and it's backed by the US dollar. So when all these oil prices started skyrocketing because of Iran, well, guess what everybody had to do? They had to find liquidity in the marketplace because they have to pay for all this. Everything gets more expensive when the price of oil goes up because it's energy, right? And you need energy to produce goods and services. So now all of a sudden you have all of these people who are holding all this gold, they're holding bonds, treasury stocks, all this kind of stuff. What do they need to do? They need to dump all that stuff and they need to get back into a cash position so that they can hedge and so they can pay for all the things that they've got to pay for now. And I'm talking institutions, institutional buyers, right? Banks, huge corporations, companies, like they have to get out of their gold positions and silver positions, not because they want to. I promise you, it's not because they want to. Countries have to liquidate gold and silver because now what they have to do is they have to pay for oil in the US dollar. So that does two things. That strengthens the US dollar. And anytime the US dollar strengthens, you see the price of gold and silver. The perception is that it goes down, right? Remember, gold's the standard. So the price of gold didn't go down. It means that the strength of the dollar went up, right? So you can buy more things now with less dollars because everybody had to go back into a cash position because of the petrodollar. But the other thing you have to think of and remember here is everybody's like, well, I thought the economy's still bad, so why is gold plummeting? Well, it is because of that, and you have all of these institutions selling off in mass all of this gold and silver, trying to get in cash positions. But the real question you got to ask in the back of your mind is the economy actually any better today than it was before all this happened? And outside of oil prices and we also had the Fed, right, came out and basically said, yeah, we're probably not going to drop interest rates again this year. So is this a long-term outlook for the direction of gold and silver, or is this just like a little teeny blip on its way to wherever it's going to go? That's the real question.
And those are things, right? They're really easy to understand, right? If you and I are in oil and gas, we've been in it forever. Some of our listeners know, we're heavily involved in oil and gas and have been for 15 years. And what we learned in the past, Zach, when we were first involved in oil and gas, was really pretty remarkable. Do you remember the first time we met with a large oil company, and they were going to buy some of our mineral rights, and they were, we had come to a price. We were super excited. We're making a few $1 million. We're really jacked up, excited. We're 30-year-old kids, and they said, well, yeah, we're going to do that. We need 30 days to close because we need to go liquidate our gold to buy them. And I remember you and I saying, what do you mean you got to liquidate your gold to buy our oil in the ground? What are you talking about? And they chuckled and they said, well, we don't store our value in fiat currency. We would never do that. They store their value in gold. And when they need the gold, when they need to go back into production, when they need to go drill wells, when they need to go buy up leases, in our case, when they need to partner on some mineral rights, they got to sell gold because they don't keep it in the bank in dollars. And that's one of the things that we've seen as prices have spiked in the oil markets is these oil companies need to go liquidate gold to go back into production quickly because they now want to pull oil out of the ground at $112 a barrel, right? Like big win.
Yeah.
So those were eye-opening experiences for us some 15 years ago when we learned that the largest companies in the world in the energy space don't store their money in anything but gold. So we're experiencing that. But what's interesting, Zach, as we take a couple minutes here, I thought this was really telling. You ask, is this a short blip? I have up on the screen, if you look on the far right side, the institutional verdict, banks stay bullish. This is what was remarkable to me. JP Morgan left their target for 2026 at $6,300 an ounce. And by the way, they had an announcement and left it there. They didn't come out and downgrade it. Actually, no bank last week downgraded their gold prediction for 2026. So even though it lost the biggest losing week, 11% value in a week, Goldman Sachs left it at 5,400, JP Morgan left it at 33 or 6,300, and no financial institution downgraded gold. So to answer your question, Zach, I don't know the personal answer, but I know that no bank or financial institution downgraded it last week when it had its biggest loss, which means they must feel like it's a short-term blip, and we're recording this a few days later, and it's definitely rebounded to $4,700 today in this week. So
I'd hate to throw any shade on these banking institutions, because they're very upright, honest, and integral operations. But JP Morgan, it's interesting to me, JP Morgan has the highest number of all banks that have putting numbers out of where they think gold's going to go by the end of 2026, and they are notorious for paying huge fines for shorting the market and trying to push the price down. So I think it goes back to the question I asked: is the economy really any better? Because that's usually what people look at and they go, well, the economy's better, that's why price of gold and silver is moving, right? There's other geopolitical things that happen, and the underlying tone of the economy, in my opinion, is it is no better today than it was a year ago.
Yeah, and I would agree. I would just say this, right? From my personal standpoint, what we do every day in the space of both energy, oil and gas, and in gold and silver, my perspective is really simple. There may have never been a better dollar cost averaging moment in our lifetime than what we're experiencing right now. So if you're a listener and you actually are a gold and silver buyer and you believe in that, and you understand dollar cost averaging, meaning you should buy a little bit all the time, this is one of the greatest moments that's happened, right? We just come off an all-time high. We have a big drop and we're already rebounding, and the financial institutions of the world didn't downgrade it. That's a great time to buy. Like, it's just, these are simple mathematical equations. We use these every day in our lives. And it's part of the reason why we have the podcast, part of the reason why we have the company SoundMoney, right? One of the reasons we do all that is because what we know, we want to share with people. People need to know how the rich and famous do things, how the banks and financial institutions and oil companies of the world, how they protect themselves, and how individuals can do it. Would you agree or disagree with that, Zach?
Yeah, no, I 100%. And by the way, I am not a licensed financial advisor, okay? But I've been in that world years ago and had my licenses. And it's really interesting because what I watched with people is there's like this gambling mentality that lots of people have, and they try to time the market, right? So I'm not giving any investment advice. I'm just telling you what I've seen in the past and what traditional behavior is. And part of, by the way, there was such a free fall on these assets is because when the big institutions started liquidating, then all of a sudden the average individual who doesn't really completely understand the market and how it works, they started fear selling. So then what you get is you get momentum, right? And that further pushes the price down. And then there's that next level of people who are like, oh my gosh, price is dropping, I got to get out of this before I lose everything. And then they sell, and then it puts more downward pressure, right? And then eventually the bulls push back on the bottom and say, no, the price can't go lower than this. But what happens is most people try to time the market. And what I try to do, because I've just seen a lot of people get hurt by timing the market. And what ends up happening is people wait and they're like, oh, price is going up, oh, I'm gonna wait. Price going up, oh, I'm gonna wait. And they're like, oh, it's running away from me, I gotta buy. So then they buy this really high priced asset, and then pretty quick it turns and goes down, and they go, oh, it's going down, I got to get rid of it. And now they bought high and sold low, which is opposite of what you're supposed to do, right? If you're trying to make money with gold or silver or any type of assets. So what I do, and I'm not telling you that you should do this, I'm just saying I don't have time to sit and time the market, and I've seen too many people get in the bloodbath with it. So I just buy a little bit all along the way. I never believe there's a really bad time to buy gold and silver. So if it's coming down, I'm buying. If it's going up, I'm buying, because I'm not going to try to sell it tomorrow to make a bunch of money. Like, for me, it's long term. I just want to hold this stuff for a long time. And so I'm just going to dollar cost average myself in. So a little every month, a little bit, I'm just buying my way in.
Yeah,
That's
and
my strategy.
yeah, that's my strategy too, and it's part of the reasons why we even started the company SoundMoney, right? So that people could go create a free account, try it out, um, use a product there. It's called the Wealth Builder that puts that on autopilot, right, Zach? That's it's one of the reasons why we even created that. And so that's our outlook right now. Is where we're at on gold and silver. You can check out those awesome briefs over at Sound.money under the news section. But we just want to make sure that our listeners are fully educated each week on where the market is, what's going on, what's happening in it. Kind of want to shift gears for a minute, Zach, and talk about tech for a minute, right? Maybe the greatest time to be a business owner is right now if you take advantage of tech. Like this is what have we seen in the last just like a few weeks going on? I mean, I'll share mine in a second. I'd love for you to share what is happening in the world of tech for the common business owner that they may not even understand right now that makes you so excited. Like, what are you coming across? What are we using in some of our other businesses that we're just so excited about today?
The automation is insane. Like, and I know people don't want to have this conversation because it's scary for people because they're like, "Oh, AI is going to take all these jobs." Well, look, you're right. It is going to take jobs, and what I'm watching is I'm watching people who embrace the fact that it is going to replace some jobs, and they're embracing technology and they're learning what it is and they're learning how to use it, are actually making more money today than they were in their current job because there's this like window where there's this lag where technology comes out. Some people know about it, some people don't. But the people that do know about it get to make money helping the people who don't know about it either implement it in their business or they use it to help these businesses grow. And so there's like this really sweet opportunity right now. If for anybody who's like a forward thinker to go, if I understand this stuff faster than other businesses understand this stuff, then I can compete against my other businesses that I'm competing against. Or I can just start my own business and I can go serve all these other businesses that don't know how to use this stuff. So I mean the automation and the robotics and I mean, gosh, there you there these agents now that you can build to just do these menial tasks that don't have to be done anymore. A lot of the design and artwork and all these graphic design jobs, it's gosh, you got to use it or it's going to displace you. Like you got to use it because all these companies are starting to use it. And the speed at which a company can do business now is so much faster. I mean, it used to take, okay, if you were to put all these briefs together and all these newsletters and all this stuff together on your own, it would take you a month to do all
Yes.
the research and put it all together, right? I mean, you literally can go gather this information in less than 10 minutes now and put all these assets together for your company. Like it's insane. It's insane.
And that's where we're at, right? And I would just encourage all of our entrepreneurs that are listening that dive in right now with what's going on with OpenAI, with Claude, with Perplexity. These are names, if you don't know them, just go study them.
Go learn
Okay.
about them.
Well, it's free education. Go learn, right? If you've said your whole life, I'm not a techie, I don't know how to do technical things, you got to get that out of your vocabulary and out of your mind. You got to dive in and play with things, okay? Uh, because what we're seeing, business is being done at the speed of light today, and these kind of things, like I said, Claude, OpenClaw, OpenAI, Perplexity, Gemini with Google. If you're use the services, play with them every day, because as you just said, Zach, those that dive in and use them will be extremely valuable for their employer or for themselves. And I can't believe how much it's changing week to week right now. It's only been like agents have only been out for 60, 70 days. And oh my goodness, like it's a life changer for businesses and what we're doing with it. I don't want to give out trade secrets, right? How we're using it every day right now, but it is crazy. And so, but never been a better time, right, to be an entrepreneur and to take advantage of those things. And please don't go watch Netflix at night. Pour yourself into a little bit more learning of how these systems are working and how you can use them. There's lots of free education out there for it.
Yeah, and by I think, Josh, I think people in business you got two options today, in my opinion. You either embrace it. So our town, right here, Rigby, Idaho, we both of us grew up around this area, and it used to be, farm fields as far as the eye could see, and now it's houses as far as the eye can see. And there's a point where you go, you know what, this really stinks that everybody's moving in, all these houses, and the infrastructure's not catching up, and there's so many more people around, and all these things. There's a point where you have to stop complaining about that and start going, okay, it's going to happen whether I like it or not. Now, how am I going to monetize it? With all these new people coming to my city, either I can sit here and complain about it and get run over, or I can do something about it and provide some service or some business for these people. I look at technology the same way. Look, I would honestly, I would rather bury my head in the sand to go ride my horse every day.
I know
I
you
really would, right? I don't love all this advancement in technology. I don't. I'm a very simple person. But I can either embrace it and know, hey, it's coming, and I got to learn how to use it, and I got to leverage it in business, or I can just get run over by the rest of my competitors. So I think you can, as a business person, you can either embrace it, stop complaining about it, stop being scared of it, and just figure out how to use it. Or I would just put your out of business sign and close sign up in your window right now, because
So
you'll be done in the next year.
yeah, I just went to lunch with a gentleman. We're going to have him on the podcast here shortly, and maybe he'll tell the story. But when we went to lunch today, he has a really nice home in Hawaii, right, as an Airbnb, and it's been on Airbnb for the last 6 years. Does $300,000 a year in net profit, like it's a real deal. 4 weeks ago, he's an entrepreneur. He's like, hey, I need to learn this whole Claude agent thing. So he watched videos, played with it. Last week, he built an agent. Never done it before. He's not a techie. Watched videos, did it. Pulled his house off Airbnb. Built a website with AI's help. Pulled it off market. He booked $600,000 in bookings for the rest of this year. It's full every day with no booking agent, no Airbnb. He'll never pay another fee. $600,000 for the rest of the year. Not a single day left on the calendar. He didn't even know it existed 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
and
I'm telling you, like, this is what the world is today.
yeah. And what's amazing about that, Josh, this is what I giggle because like I also have some rental properties. Okay.
Yes.
And I hate Airbnb and I hate Verbo. They're the most abusive companies on planet Earth. If you own a property, they are so abusive to their property owners in what they make you do and not do and all this kind of stuff, because they're trying to appeal to the person coming to rent, right? And that's who pays their bills. So they use your property and abuse you to make a whole bunch of money. So I hate them. But I promise you, those guys are like, yeah, this is, we got this market. We're going to use AI a little bit here. And like, they are not developing their platforms as fast as they should be developing their platforms. And they're sitting back thinking, we're so big that nobody could ever really take us over. And what's going to happen is one day they're going to wake up and they're going to go, where did all of our owners go? And because they don't pay attention to what's going on in the marketplace, they're all going to do what this guy did, and everybody's going to leave the platform, and they're going to wonder why. And in the world today, if you don't know how to do that, like this is what's crazy, Josh. If you don't know how to build a website, you used to have to go to school, right, and have to learn how to code and do all this stuff. If you don't know how to build a website, you can, like, if you don't know how to use the AI and build the website, you can ask the AI to teach you how to build a website, or just ask the AI to do it for you. Like it blows my mind when I hear people talk about it. Like, well, I don't know how to do it. I'm like, just ask AI how to do it. Ask AI to do it for you, right?
Yeah, I just can't believe I watched him do this. I watched him build it out. I watched him go target market people who are booking in Hawaii. I watched him go target people on the North Shore. I watched it literally happen in front of my eyes, and it filled up, right? Like we're just in a different time. That's what I say. And that technology didn't exist 4 weeks ago. He turned it into $600,000 for the rest of the year, right? Like it's where we're at. It's really cool time to be an entrepreneur and do those things. So, Zach, I'm gonna shift gears now for the last piece of the podcast. We're gonna shift gears to just entrepreneurial information, right? Some things that as people are going out there mindset wise, right? I want to close today with some thoughts around what are some things that an aspiring entrepreneur or somebody that's maybe struggling today, that because there's a lot of businesses that are struggling. The economy is not very good in America today when it comes to consumer spending. And so if you're in a consumer spending space, you're probably feeling a pinch. But what can an entrepreneur do mentally when their business right now may be experiencing a consumer spending problem? They have less dollars coming in, they have less customers coming through the door, less discretionary income. If they're an entrepreneur who's feeling that today, what can they do mentally? Like, where does their mind got to be in all this, and what do they got to focus on, Zach?
Well, I think number one, you got to remember why you started the deal, right? That's the easiest thing to lose track of is, you start something and you get into it and you start building it, and then pretty quick you forget why you even got into it. And, in some of our businesses, we've had to remind ourselves even lately, like, why did we actually start this? And are we on mission? And are we actually doing the thing that we're supposed to be doing? And we've made some adjustments because we weren't on mission and doing it the way that we should have been doing it to really make a big impact. And so I think, one, you got to remember why you're doing it. And then two, entrepreneurship and owning a business is really, really lonely. It actually really is lonely. There's not a whole lot of people that know what you go through every day. There's very few people you can actually have a conversation with that understand what you're talking about. Everybody kind of sees the shine, right? They see the entrepreneurs or they see the business owners, and maybe they're driving a nice vehicle, or maybe they live in a nice home, or their business looks nice, but they don't see after hours when the sign turns to closed how long that business owner stays there doing the books and trying to figure out, how am I going to make payroll tomorrow? And everything looks rosy. So I would say one of the biggest things that people need to do that are in business is you've got to find a tribe of people. Like, you need to connect with other business owners, and you need to be where other business owners are so you can have the conversations with other business owners, because most of the time it's other business owners that can solve your challenges. I can't count how many times we've had a challenge and we're so close to the problem that you can't quite see it, right? Because you invented the problem, you created your own problem. But you're out on the golf course with your buddies that are also entrepreneurs, and you're talking business, and all of a sudden they say something, you're like, huh, yeah, that's exactly the solution that I need for my business, right? And it's just knowing that there's somebody else going through some of the same things that you are going through gives you a lot of that staying power to stay in the fight, because it can be really lonely. So don't do it alone. Like, find some people that you can network with and throw ideas back and forth with, because they're going through the same thing, and doing it together, all the businesses will be stronger in the end if you do that.
I love that, Zach, because that's how we've lived our lives, right? We're very mission and driven focused. We all started a business for a reason, and it can't be money. Like, it can't be just to make a living or a business. It's usually not a business if you're just doing it to make a living, right? You usually start something because you think you have a solution to a problem nobody else has. And oftentimes when things slow down, you got to get back to that. You got to understand. We recently went through this with some of our platforms and some of the things we do. We went, you know what? We started these for a mission and a purpose and a vision, and we're not accomplishing it. So we need to readjust it. At the end of the day, when you do that, you can be filled with passion to accomplish the tasks. You can go through the valleys of business that are hard when maybe the consumer doesn't have the same amount of dollars and isn't giving it to you, because you know your purpose. And so I love that you went there first, and I love that you ended with, you got to find like-minded people. Without them, you're not going to win. You got to have a few other people, and they can't be financial remuneration. There can't be a transactional experience for that information. So if you go into lunch with somebody and it's transactional, like they're only going to give you an idea or help you if they can financially benefit from you, you got to get rid of that person in your life. Like you got to, because that's not what you need. What you need is somebody who will give you ideas, criticism, applause, excitement, tear your idea down without any transactional relationship. That they're just doing it because they want to see you win. And if you really search out, you'll find those people. And so I love that you went there, because a lot of our listeners, I'm sure, are going through that today. Like I said, I just came from a lunch appointment, no financial remuneration, no transaction, but both of us came away with tremendous ideas for each other's businesses, because we're entrepreneurs who are in different spaces and we shared with each other what we're doing and going through. And man, I love that you went there, Zach, because that's a big deal when you're trying to win, especially if it's hard.
Yeah. It's always hard. It's always difficult. I don't know. It's always difficult. If it's not hard, you're not doing anything very important, and just give it a minute, right? Just give it a minute.
Just give it a minute. It's not going anywhere. So we're going to do something a little different, Zach. We're going to be posting these a little quicker and out, and we're going to now do us a favor. Like, we're going to start. We haven't engaged with the audience in the past, right? We've been too busy. We've been doing other things. We've got some help with the new platform we're using. We got some help with one of my sons, Eli. He's not that much help, but he's a little help for us. He's great help.
Your dad loves you, Eli. Your dad.
I do. He's on right now in the background with us. But we're just gonna ask you to do us a favor, right? Do us a favor, like and subscribe to however you're listening to it, whether you're on Spotify or Apple Podcast, whether you're on YouTube or some other platform today. Do us a favor, like and subscribe, and do us a favor. I want you to leave a comment for us. If you'll leave a comment for us and let us know what it is you liked about today's show, we're going to enter you into a drawing, and we're going to be giving away some free sound money in next week's episode, Zach. Now, I didn't tell Zach, we're giving away some of Zach's free.
No, we did this a week ago on another platform. You gave away my money.
I did give away your coin because you weren't in the production meeting. I apologize for that. But leave us a comment of something you learned today in one of the platforms, and share it in social media with some friends and what you learned. And we're going to be putting you into a drawing. And next week we're going to give away a little bit of free sound money. So fair enough. Zach, last word as we part today for the listeners.
Yeah, and I think if there's anything that you guys are interested in, then throw that in the chat too, right? What things that are you struggling with in business or whatever? If we have any thoughts or ideas that we've been through, or things that we've been through that have helped us, we'd be more than happy to throw those out. Or if there's people that are experts that we can bring on and help you solve some of those problems, let us know what you guys want to hear.
That's awesome. I just close with this, Zach. Right? It's been a really awesome, wild ride in gold and silver lately. It's an industry that we love, and I would just say that I think it's pretty cool that for the first time in my lifetime, the world being the energy industry, the Federal Reserve, the anti-gold and silver establishment of the Federal Reserve of the United States of America, all conspired to drive gold and silver down hard for a week. But for the first time, because of the amount of physical gold and silver holders that are not institutional buyers, it bounced, and it's rebounding quickly. And they weren't able to do their end goal of driving it into the dirt like they have in the past. In 2008, they were able to do it. In 2013, they were able to do it. 2020, during COVID, they were able to do it when it spiked. For the first time, they tried to do it, but it's not really worked. And I just think that's awesome, because I know a lot of our listeners are physical holders of gold and silver, whether it's in our platform at Sound.Money, whether it's at their homes, whether it's on a competitor's platform. Our listeners are gold and silver bugs. And I think it's pretty awesome that things change like that in the world for the first time ever. I love seeing history made. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, Zach, we're going to say goodbye to the listeners till next week. Can't wait to see everyone on the Sound Money, Sound Principles podcast. You guys are awesome. Have a great week.
All right. See you, everybody.